All right. Here we go. Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight, folks. Here, as always, I am your meteorologist for the evening, Cloud Hudson, and I will be bringing you all of today's top weather stories from all the way down to all the way up. So let's just go ahead and get started. I will acknowledge I've got some incense going here, so if you see smoke, that is on purpose. Don't be alarmed. Just need to clear out the vibes a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with our volcanic update. I'm going to go back to the web browser. That's not the part I wanted to go to. I want to go to... Now you guys know what my targeted ads look like. Oh no. Let's go to volcanoes today. All right. Looks like Mount Ibu is continuing to erupt, and so is Semeru down in Indonesia. No surprise there, as we've seen continued earthquakes, both small and large, in the area. Dukono on Halmahera is continuous volcanic ash emissions. Okay, yeah, you can see it in the picture right here. That is definitely off-gassing there. Popo continues to explode. Nevado del Ruiz in Colombia has a possible volcanic ash emissions and continuing to explode over down in Sangay in Ecuador. And Sabancaya has gone into unable to detect territory. Let's take a look at March 23rd. That's just from the last 6 hours. Mount Ibeco has erupted on Paramashir Island in Japan. Let's see. Continued explosions in Indonesia. Lewatobi has ground report of eruptions. Let's see. That is a satellite image of Lewatobi's eruption. The eruption from the lava dome area caught on the webcam last night. That is of Semeru, not of Lewatobi. That is of Mount Semeru, down in East Java, Indonesia. Ground report of eruptions. So that makes sense. Merapi continues to explode, as does Tacona, like we talked about. Santiaguito explosive activity continues. Puff emissions up to 2,300 feet 23,000 feet in Peru. All right, we are still looking at most of the usual suspects here for our volcanoes. Let's see if there's been any news from Iceland. That's not the link I wanted. Nope, that's still not the link I wanted. Let's go to this one. Yeah, that's the one. Volcanic eruption is still ongoing in the Sudnukskir crater row. Gas pollution hazard is in effect in the area. And you see continued earthquake activity. Let's look at... I think it's the one called North Atlantic that has the entire island. Yeah, so the recent quakes have been in other locations throughout the island. And they are looking at a yellow alert for their weather. Let's look at gas pollution hazards real quick. High levels of sulfur dioxide still going off there. Let's actually take a look at... nope, not that one. Let's look at Null Earth and see those sulfur dioxide emissions. Chemicals, SO2. Let's see. Now, as you can see, sulfur dioxide is not just put off by volcanoes, because otherwise that would mean there's volcanoes erupting actively all over the eastern half of the United States. That's not actually happening. We know that this is actually sometimes a product of industry, sometimes of coal burning power plants, and so on. But here we can see the volcanic emissions definitely contributing to the sulfur dioxide off gassing here. Thankfully, thankfully for the gassing, the winds are from the north, but like unfortunately, that means that they are having some blustery wind, really cold air coming off of Greenland and the North Sea rushing into that eastern flank of Iceland. Now, that is all because I don't want to jump ahead of myself and forget to do earthquakes, but let's take a look at the air right now. Let's take a look at the jet level. Polar vortex level. All right, so it's not... I saw some headlines that was like, oh, the polar vortex is going clockwise right now. Well, technically, yes, and technically, no. There's no... I'm not going to get into that. That was clickbait. But we do have a pretty nasty system off the West Coast, as well as some severe weather happening in the Midwest right now. But before I get to that, I want to take a look at... We actually have an earthquake meter here on the Microsoft Start homepage weather that I've been looking at. Our most recent earthquakes here indicated just north of Santa Rosa, California, and also just south of, I guess that's Virginia City, Nevada. And then we've also seen little 1 point somethings rippling throughout the Southern California most of the day. Also, east of Asuncion in Mexico, we saw a 3.4. And then in our usual oil drilling spots, we saw 2.7, 2.2. I mean, this is prime territory for fracking related. I'm not supposed to say that. Coincidentally, there's always earthquakes in this one little part of West Texas, and they want to say that it is technically south of Carlsbad, New Mexico, instead of saying it is in Texas. So, there's also some here north of Oklahoma. No surprise there. We had another one in the New Madrid seismic zone. This is the town, the bend in the Mississippi River of New Madrid right here. And this is a very tectonically active spot in the Mississippi. If you know anything about the way that water is an electrical and magnetic fluid, it shouldn't surprise you that this is an inflection point in where energy transfers through the mass bodies. Let's see. We also had a larger one in Smiths Ferry, Idaho, a 2.7 at 7 kilometers depth. Not too surprising of an area, given that this is all over the giant caldera that contributes to the Yellowstone National Park geothermal system. Having some bigger ones here in Alaska. Well, not bigger. Some more medium 3.0-ish earthquakes here going up into the, let's see, Petersville, Valdez, Nenwalik. I believe they call this, there's definitely up into this Anchorage area been a lot of earthquakes, but that's pretty typical. Let's take a look at globally. 4.7 in the Mariana Islands region, 4.7 and a 5.0 This one does not let me show you the plate boundaries on it. So let me actually, I kind of want to switch to Earthquake 3D in a sec. But I do want to just brush up on my geography here. We've got Tonga is right here. This back part of the wave, I remember I like to talk about this area as if it's a breaking wave geometry. It's like a plate. It's like the tectonic. It's like the Earth itself is a wave that's breaking, and this is doing the little classic wave signature. But it's Kermadec Islands between New Zealand and Tonga, and then Fiji is right here. So Tonga, right in the middle of it, really. South of Tonga is where we see a lot of stuff. And then Samoa, and so-called American Samoa, is right there. See, we've got a 5.0 in Porta Villa in the Vanuatu Islands region. We also had a 5.6 here in Papua New Guinea. That's after we had the 7s a couple days ago. We had 5.1 and a 5.1 and a 4.7 here in Indonesia, in this area of Indonesia at least. Let's see. There should be more popping up as I zoom out. You should see more. Okay, well, this is apparently being fed by the USGS, so I'm going to say that in western Xinjiang, Tibet area of the Himalayas here, we've got 4.7. We also had one here in the Kashmir region, but I don't want to. I'll go back. I'll go to Earthquake 3D in a second. We had a 4.8 in Turkey, a 4.0 in Iran, a 4.1 and a 5.8 here in Philiatra, Greece. And of course, can't forget that we are seeing our off the coast of El Salvador and Mexico continued 4.2s, and in Colombia and Venezuela, as well as here in Argentina, we have seen a series of 4.3, 4.4s. Now, one of the most recent quakes in this area was just south of Puerto Rico. There have been a lot of earthquakes happening in this area, just like south of the southwest corner of Puerto Rico, the Yaco, Guanica provinces. I don't know what goes on there. I don't know what this is, but that seems to be where a lot of the earthquakes are from. Also, out here in the closer to the Virgin Islands, there's been continued 3.2s. There's been continuous earthquake activity in Puerto Rico, and I don't know what that's all about. Okay, 5.0. There were two 5.0s in a 5.0 and a 5.2 in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge region. Let's go now to look at our Earthquake 3D map, because that is going to tell us a little bit more. Okay. Yeah. 5.2, 5.1, and a 4.9 all reported out here on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. 4.4 here in Colombia, and a 4.3 and a 4.9 in Venezuela. Continuing to see swarms of earthquakes in Puerto Rico. I'm sure that has nothing to do with the fact that it's a place that the United States is trying to colonize. I'm sure there's nothing related there. Same with Alaska and Hawaii. Those are just, naturally have a lot of earthquakes. There's no such thing as, like the land not liking the presence of an occupying force or anything. Out here on the, I believe it's the, which rise is this? I forget what this is called. What is the name of this plate boundary here? Because this is the West Argent. Tina Rise. I'm gonna have to look this up. But 4.4 here in Peru, that is near their volcanoes, so that's pretty standard. So are these 4.2 and 4.4s near actively erupting volcanoes. Most of these fours are going to the tectonically active spots. We did have a 3.2 here in Hawaii. That was at 3:56 p.m. at a depth of 10 kilometers. Again, I don't know what goes on at 10 kilometers, what's happening down there, but seems to be a lot of earthquakes. Here at 4, we had a 4.7 out here in the Mariana Islands. If I took my intensity down to just showing 2s and up, you don't see that many. There we go. In Alaska. Okay, we got 5.0, 5.0, 5.4, 5.4. When were these? Let's see. The 5.4 was at 10:40 and 5:57. The 5.0s were at 2:29 and 5:12 p.m. So the most recent is this most easterly 5.0. Just been a lot of 5.0 energy ricocheting through this region. If I have to guess where the next one is, looks like it's going to, there's been some here and here. I'm expecting maybe another one here in this region as we go into from up the Japan coast into the Siberian Peninsula and then into Alaska, and also more here in the Sumatra region of Indonesia and into maybe in this off the coast of Myanmar. We do see a 4.7 up inside the Himalayas, but that was almost concurrent with one of these 4.7s. I'm seeing the 5s and the 4.7s maybe moving in different waves. Here's where the next 5 struck. So halfway between, let's look halfway between the last 5s. I'm trying to use the Dutch sense method here, but forgive me, Dutch. I'm not an expert at your system yet. But halfway between these 5s and this 5, looking about Taiwan, I think. Let's expect a 5 in Taiwan. Who knows? Listen, guys, I'm not a forecaster. I'm going to leave that to the seasoned professionals. And by seasoned professionals, I mean other YouTube live streamers. I'm going to, if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say let's look for a 5.0 in Taiwan tomorrow. I don't know. I'm just trying this out. We did see the higher than 5 energy transfer all the way into the Mediterranean Sea today. We got a 5.8 here off the coast of Greece. Is that the one in Greece? Oh, yeah, that's the one. Definitely that's the one in Greece. 4.0, 4.8. 4.0 was in Iran and the 4.8 was in Turkey. And we are still seeing more activity here in Eastern Europe. That is an interesting phenomenon. Very curious to know what's going on there. Also curious to know what's going on with the borders on this application, because this looks like it's got East and West Germany on it. I don't know when they got their maps from. Okay. I think that's all I want to show on this. I mean, yeah, there's just so much going on across most of the world that we got to get to our next medium first, okay? Let's go to the atmosphere. Taking a look here at, let's see. It's our most recent scan. Wow, look at that big occlusion here off the coast of San Francisco. That is a whopper. Now, that is the convergence of a cold front coming from the northern Pacific, slamming into that southern atmospheric river, a jet stream level pass of moist air going towards California. As you can see, like we usually see popping off from the mountains in the mountains in Mexico south of Texas, you usually see the spawning of storms from one point. That's not because there's some like weather machine spawning a cloud there. It's because that is where you get the two air masses configured in the right angles, the correct, not right, not 90 degrees, but in the correct angles with enough common and dissimilar components in order to give you enough spin and enough lift to create these areas of convection and severe storms. Special marine warning, I believe this includes warnings for hail and water spouts. Yeah. Strong storms possible of, water spouts, hail, lightning. If you are out there shipping, trying to get into San Luis Obispo area, if you're trying to get into Morro Bay, I think it's from, is this up here is Monterey Bay, right? No, yeah. This one's Monterey Bay, and it was getting walloped earlier, but now we are looking more at like between there and LA, so I think it's the, Santa Maria up to San Luis Obispo area, Morro Bay here. We're looking at some anywhere along the one. Is that how they say it out there? The one. That is where we're looking at those severe thunderstorms right now, potentially causing water spouts. Now, they have had flash flooding warnings and there was even possibilities of tornadoes today out in the Bay Area. Let's see. Gusty winds, very incredible high winds. Let's see. We are looking at, and once this atmospheric river, it's done. Once the atmospheric river, sorry, I got a note from my producers. Once this atmospheric river makes it to the higher elevations, it can turn into snow, and that is what's happening here in the Yosemite National Park area, Mammoth Lakes, even into Reno, Carson City area, into the upper elevations in Nevada. They are getting some rain snow mixture there. But do you see this full occlusion there? Let's look at let me see. Do I have a... Let me look at... let me get a... let's look at reflectivity. Oh, there we go. That's better. That's better. That's a better scan of this. It's looking good. And by looking good, I mean not looking fun. Let me look at single site radar, and we can see if any of these are potentially... Oh, yeah. Let me look at this. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is some... Everywhere from Paso Robles down to, honestly, to Santa Barbara. That is a large area to be warning for. But everywhere, that entire coast is fucked. Not fucked. It could be worse. It could always be worse. Let's see. Any couplets popping off there? You can see the squall line of storms here. Let's see. I don't know. It doesn't look like there's too many couplets popping off. There's no... Now, the reason that we look for tornadoes more with isolated supercells is because that's when it gets all the energy to itself, basically. And but when you have to share the energy for a tornado, all the possibilities for a tornado with the rest of the storm, it's a little harder to keep it to yourself and get all worked up. Let's look at the 3D of this. See if it'll let me do that. Yeah, it will. Oh, wow. Beautiful. So this is what the cloud looks like around this dot being the radar station here just south of Santa Maria. That is a gorgeous, gorgeous rendering of what this storm might look like. Let's actually look at extruded 3D. Because that's when I can look at it this way. Yeah, you see that big S in there. That's the area of extreme storminess. Let's go back to looking at null Earth. Let me change that on OBS right here. Go back to null Earth. I don't know what I just clicked on by accident. And let's look at our near surface level winds, but not quite surface level. Let's see. I wanted to check on Madagascar. Looks like the center of circulation has moved off to the east of the island, which is good because, well, actually it's not good because you've got a notch of the storm that is just exactly in line with the angle of this bay right here. So that spells bad news for this area of the island, where this area of the island had gotten hit by tropical cyclone Gamane earlier. Let's look at cloud water. Wow, look at that perfect spiral. Look at the perfect spiral. Let's see the waves. So at the surface level is usually the direction the waves are going, but it's also determined by currents. That is, and you can see the crossing wave directions show where there would actually be a doldrum. And anyway, getting off topic, this is a beautiful spiral curve right here. I mean, bad for residents, right? Not great for people going through it, but that is just a really impressive curve. And I heard that Lake Shasta is actually at 90% capacity now, which is just amazing for an area that's been plagued by drought for 10 or 15 years. Really incredible. But we've also got some severe weather here in Chicago. Chicagoland area. Let's look at our severe winds. Yeah, and let's see if we've got a little Kate, but I don't think that we had too many warnings there today. Let me check. No, I don't think we have any active warning. Our only active warnings are we have some flood warnings up in the Northeast. There's also a elevated risk of fire throughout central North Carolina and Virginia, as well as an elevated risk and a critical risk of fires out here in western Texas and Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado. Let's show you why. That is because of all these really, really dry relative humidities. Look at this. 11% humidity, 10%, 7%. That is like tinder. And then also not nothing. I mean, it seems like nothing, but really dry relative humidities combined with really high wind speeds are increasing the fire risks there. But then when we look at California, where we would expect to see such a high fire risk, wow, 99, 97, 98% humidity. Those are clouds, buddy. Those are storms. We are at 100% humidity here. Just really, really incredible. I've got next for you to look at. After this, we go to the sun. Let's take a look at today's solar weather. Maximum X-ray flux of the last 2 hours was a C 8.33. That's a pretty moderately high C class flare. Let's see, 27, 28. We're on 29, and we have had not too many CMEs, but 2 of them had potential partial halos. That looks like also a little bit elevated radio. Looks like a little bit of radiation in the background as well. Yeah. Let's see. I don't want to know what they're saying there, but I do want to know what they're saying there. Solar flares. Obviously, yesterday we had that X-class flare, and then followed by another M-class flare in the early hours of today, and then we barely peeked into an M-class flare earlier today. We're back sitting comfortably in the C range, but we did have a very high C recently. Almost all of these have been from region 3615, which I believe has made pretty much its full journey across the Earth-facing disk of the sun for now. But it's about to go away, and we know that we have seen a lot of activity from sunspot groups that have just gotten out of range of being Earth-facing. So, yeah. Interesting. All right, let's take a look at some video of this. Oh, it's talking to this group too. That is so cool. I like when they call each other on the phone, or like this is how I picture sending emails working. When you type a little email and you go, bing, send it to my friend. That's what I think of. That's spooky action at a distance. That's not what spooky action at a distance means, but that's what I picture when I picture it. Okay, let's go now to our planetary weather. So, we have the moon in Sagittarius at 3 degrees of Sagittarius, applying to a square with, a trine, trine with the sun in Aries at 9 degrees. It is applying, though, to a square with Mars in Pisces. So if you are feeling a little emotionally tense or hot-headed in any way right now, there is a good source of that energy out in the cosmos if you would like to be upset. If you would enjoy being upset right now, that is a very possible thing. If you would not like to be upset, you're going to have to do some mitigating factors for that. You're going to have to compensate somehow. Use this for creative and physical and personal growth, transformation, transmutation. Remember, these are mutable water and fire signs. So this is... hot, fiery Mars is in watery Pisces, and watery moon is in hot, fiery Sagittarius. So this is a big old switcheroo. They would like it if they were in the opposite. If there was Mars in Sagittarius and moon in Pisces, people would love that. Actually, it would be a little destructive. Speaking of destructive, that's what Saturn, or that's what, sorry, that's what Saturn does always, but that's what Mars does in Pisces, especially co-present with Saturn. And those are both headed towards their eventual conjunctions with Neptune, which we know is the depths of everything, known and unknown. Actually, the depths of everything unknown. Saturn is the extent of everything known, I think, but Neptune's the depth of everything we can't know. So I don't know what's going to happen when Venus, then Mars, then eventually Saturn makes a conjunction with Neptune. Actually, the Neptune-Saturn conjunction won't happen until both of them are about to ingress into Aries in a couple years. But we are coming up on this Venus-Neptune conjunction, and Venus is treated very well in Pisces, and so is Neptune, because what do we do with things that aren't real? We can idealize them so much. So Venus can add a lot of beauty to that, and also a lot of growth. There's a lot of hope. There's a lot of visioning about the future and planting seeds. But don't forget that Mars is hanging out with Saturn back here, so we might get a little bit destructive in our dreaming phase if we are not careful. But there's not a lot of careful energy out there right now. Maybe from Pluto in Aquarius, if anyone has already learned the lesson of the next 20 years, there's room to be careful, but I don't think anybody's got that yet. So with what's going on in the sky, I don't think we're being very careful. We are just feeling a lot and caring a lot. But caring a lot is different than being careful. Just had another earthquake come in. This time, there's like just in the middle of New Mexico, I think. I'm going to, I also did my hair. Do you like it? I'm going to go to our cosmic weather and then log off because I need to do some self-care as well. I'm going to cut my hair tonight. I hope that you can tell my theme. It was, I was going for weather radar colors. I hope that it reads, but it will read even more once I have cut it into the shape I like. So let me just pull one card. I'm going to do an affirmation one to stay on the positive side here, and then I'm going to call it a night and film that little video, and honestly probably get to sleep pretty soon. Give this deck a shuffle. I haven't shuffled this in a long time. These are thick cards. It's a large deck, but they're physically, the card itself is very thick. So it's kind of hard to shuffle. So I'm going to do a lot of cutting of this one. Well, this one jumped out already. Let's do this. Okay. Oh, this is a very Pisces looking card. Says, I look for more reasons to appreciate. And it's got two little fishies on here, looking like it's in a pond of some sort because there's grass above it. And maybe there's little fireflies or sprites dancing around above them. But two orange fish swimming in the pond. It says, the more I appreciate, the better I feel. The better I feel, the more I am allowing who I am to flow through me. The more I allow who I am to flow through me, the better I feel. So it should be a positive feedback loop, not a negative one. Feel appreciative, gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. I needed to hear that tonight. I really needed to hear that. I am so grateful to have this opportunity to come talk about the weather every night with you guys. I know no one's actively watching right now, but we got at least 5 views on this one. Maybe if my hair gets cooler and cooler, more people will tune in. Who knows? Anything could happen. but I am very grateful to get to run this fun software and share it with you guys. I'm very grateful to get to talk to you about my day and the vibes, and that we get to. I'm very grateful for everything in my life materially and challengingly and emotionally. Very grateful. It is an interesting creative challenge to find gratitude for things that you want to be mad at, but it is an art form to practice gratitude and find ways to appreciate even the things that feel painful. Not that we have to like our pain or think that we deserve it, but it's an interesting. It's like being grateful for homework, you know? Like, oh, I'm so grateful I go to school and can learn things, even though I hate homework. It's like, I don't want pain or sad emotions to come up, but I am grateful that I have opportunities to chew on what it means to be suffering and learn all that I can from the information source, which is pain. Pain is a great information source. So let's stay grateful for, you know, every single part of our lives. I love you guys very, very much. Thanks for tuning in tonight. I'm going to have a really cool hair transformation video coming for you very soon.